Well, here's where we are. The Pistons selected a player last night, injured player, but I think he's fine. He injured his thumb. I wanted to ask you about tearing a tendon in your thumb. Is there any concern about any sort of feeling or anything like that getting that back?
Oh, for the love of the game.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it's an annoying injury that can be detrimental to your play for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can tape it up. If it's a complete tear, that's a major problem. He's going to go through a complete recovery. And the thing is that you're so sensitive. You have to be so good with your hands, especially basketball players. You can't really get around it. Is it the right hand?
It is his thumb. It is his right thumm.
Yeah,
Ooh.
so that's going to be – I mean, your thumb is really your base of your hand.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're playing basketball, taking passes, shooting, that's a big deal. It's one of those little nagging injuries that lead to a bigger issue and longer recovery because you got to get your touch back.
A complete rupture in his tendon in his right thumb.
Yeah, so that's not a good thing.
Big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. But, you know, in today's medicine, we repair it, the rehab, but it's not like it's a timing thing of him having that sensitivity back because it doesn't just pop back. You got to recover, let it recover, not push it prematurely because it can tend to re-rupture, and that's the last thing you want. So if anything, because he's young, early in his career, it's going to be a longer recovery, I would predict.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is necessarily a question towards Doc. One thing he's got to do, this is going back to the player we drafted, Ron Holland. When they showed the highlights last night, Ryan and Maz, one of the things that I continuously notice, and my girlfriend pointed this out, how many times he was on the ground. How many times he was above the rim and ended on the ground, landed on the ground. That's something they got to watch out. Ja Morant did a lot of that early on in his career, and then you start noticing year 2, year 3, year 4, had a lot more injuries. Stop falling so bad. You got to teach a man how to fall.
Hey, go ahead.
It is a balance thing. Like you look at, you know, the
core.
quarterbacks, it's your core, but it's your body awareness. It's your, like, I'm going through no matter what. Like, that's what Morant used to do. And but his hops were ridiculous.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, he got up like a springboard. This guy's not, he doesn't get up as quickly, but he needs to learn how to balance. And you're absolutely right. You got to break him down, get him to the basics. You're in the big boy leagues. Yeah. It's going to last for a little bit, but it's not going to be for longevity.
Doc, when you look at the NBA draft, you know, last night, just so many long, skinny kids that are 18, 19 years old that are just trying to figure out their own bodies to begin with. How much time does it take to, I guess, mature or really feel your own body, for lack of a better way to say it, really grow into your body?
So, like, we've all seen horses and ponies, right? I call it the pony phase. You're growing, you don't know what's going on, you have balance, but you don't have balance, and that's what's going on. You're getting that lengthening of the bones, and like I've always said, the muscles and the ligaments have to catch up. So when you start pushing at that level, you put your body at a disadvantage. And that's where those little nagging injuries come in and things like that. That's really what you're noting. And anyhow, how to put it simply, you have to have that, what I always call the balance, right? The muscle balance, the ligament balance. The bones are growing. It's a natural way. So these kids are doing that. They're growing. They have to have a very good trainer that brings them back, because you don't get those micro traumas. You may get, like we talked about the Tommy John stuff. Why is it happening? Because they're throwing on those ligaments prematurely before the ligament's strong and developed, right? Physiology, you're not going to beat physiology. I always talk about the secret sauce in the locker room. Physiology, we can do that on a mature adult. When we're talking about natural growth, it's like they say, birth. No matter how much you want to rush it, it still takes 9 months. Right. You have to let the body naturally do what it's doing. Do these kids have a little bit more development? Yes. Are they matured? No, their body hasn't matured. You have to appreciate that during the development. The guy has some fast switch fibers. He may be developing better than the other 19-year-olds. That's why he's being drafted. But he's still not at that mature level where you can say, let's go, full boat. You have to be aware of it.
We talked about this the last time we had you, or last time I had a chance to talk to you. We talked about youth sports and just younger players, though. Maybe a 12-year-old throwing a bunch of curveballs. Their bodies just aren't mature enough to be handling that kind of stress on their arm, their shoulders, their elbows, anything like that.
No, I mean, that's really, like we were talking about, what's leading to all these new Tommy John injuries. Is it that they're throwing harder to get to the next level? Are they prematurely beating on the body? Absolutely. You can get through it as a young kid, but it's going to catch up to you. How many pitches, how many rotations? You're talking about immature bones, the bone growth. We talk about this fracture. Is it through the growth plate? Is the ligament fully developed? No. The answer is always no. You don't want it through the growth plate. When you talk about, throwing, pitching, you're like we talked about the one player that I told you about. He's throwing. He thinks it's all in the wrist. He doesn't realize what the shoulder and the elbow are doing. So did he get a teacher at the right time? Did he watch a video? A lot of kids are watching videos now. They don't have someone saying, look, your basics need to be here. You get steps. You have to take step A before you go to step B. A lot of these kids want to go from, A to Z right away and develop, and they'll get through it, but it will catch up to them. So no, I think I answered your question.
Yeah, you did. And I want to, transition to more youth sports for a second, if I could, because, the other night I went to watch my nephew play. My nephew's going to be a senior in high school, and they've got 7-on-7 football drills, and just all of when you go from 0 to 60 right away too, when you do all that stopping and starting and cutting and all those things, the stress that you're putting on your lower half, what are some of the things that you would tell people, whether you're, a high school athlete, whether you're a youth athlete, or whether you're a pickleball player that is, picking it up and picking up a racket and trying to go, from 0 to 60 and just start a bunch of physical activity right away?
I mean, you can't do it, right? The answer is be simple, be smart. 0 to 60 is never good. In an age group of younger age group, they can do it a little bit better. We're talking big about plyometrics. Plyometrics is finally becoming popular. We've been doing it at Michigan Sports and Spine for 25 plus years. The understanding of the explosiveness, what you're talking about, the change of direction. I've talked about foot and ankle as the most disrespected part of the body. Those are the things that get hurt. Those are the things that you're going to change. The guys that want the beauty muscles doesn't help them at all with that explosiveness, right? It actually will slow them down. So it's all about balance. It's all about that ligament balance. It's all about, is it good? Yeah, if you can develop it. But again, we talk about developing in parallel, meaning in single directions, and then you change directions. So there's a lot of guys, like even on the TikToks that I'm getting now and the Instagram, they're talking about the more dynamic, right? So we started hearing dynamic warm-ups through football. It's a real thing. You really want to have a dynamic warm-up. With pickleball, which is growing as the number one injury sport.
Yeah, isn't that something?
It's climbing by the week.
Yeah.
Over lacrosse?
Lacrosse, just because of the numbers, has less players. And the age group, when Medicare pays attention to something, then there's a problem. When the government's so stupid, they finally figured out there's a problem there, but I won't get on that soapbox.
Fair enough.
But even with pickleball, the average age over the last 2 years dropped by 10 years. So the youth are coming in and playing. So there is a lot of start, stopping, changing positions. And it's, if you're good, if you're competitive, it's a quick sport. For recreational, it's still a safer sport. But you want to do a dynamic warm-up. I told you about Dee, who I took care of. She's number 2 in the state right now. She got 100% better. So we're now going to start putting out dynamic warm-ups for the 25-year-old. And we're going to look at the 25-year-old Achilles tendon versus the 60-year-old Achilles tendon. Which leads me to the other thing about youth sports. I got a 17-year-old football player. He's about 6'2", 6'3", 230. He's already being looked at a couple colleges. He's a lineman. We ended up doing a PRP injection for his knee. And then I did my 71-year-old. I'm dropping names all day. 71-year-old who's the NHL guy for the Red Wings, his knees for the second time. So he couldn't walk or anything 4 years ago, 2020, and now he's running and dancing.
Wow.
He's like, I go, you were supposed to come back in 4 months. It's been 4 years. He goes, I go, what are you, cheating on me? He goes, no, Doc. I've been dancing, enjoying life, and running and the whole thing. So I was going to get at that we use the PRP. There's a lot of criticism that you use it. You take the blood and stuff from the older individuals. It's not necessarily about the age. It's about your biologics, right? Your biology. You've met the 70-year-old that looks like he's ready for the grave, and you've met the 70-year-old that's going to beat you on the basketball
We'll
court.
see two of them tonight. Sorry. Sorry. I'm sorry.
What'd I miss?
There's a debate tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Help himself.
I thought there's a concert I'm missing.
Are you watching
Those
that
guys
debate?
need exosomes. They should be the poster child for exosomes.
Oh, man. Attention sports fans, don't miss out on Expert Sports Injury Insight with Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. Join Dr. Pierce every Tuesday during Big D Energy and Thursdays during Ermanni and Edwards, where he offers top-notch injury advice. Trust the guy that I trust. Dr. Jeff Pierce is here to keep you in the game and performing at your best. For more information, visit MichiganSportsandSpine.com or call 248-426-9944.